why my Dominican husband left me after only 2 weeks of living in the US. And let me start off by saying I'm never gonna apologize for being a good person, having a good heart, and believing in love. Because one thing I'm never gonna do is live in the what if, because I feel like es un desperdicio de vida. And if that makes me ingenua, then so be it. So my soon-to-be ex-husband and I, who we'll call Moon, we've been together for 4 years, married 3. I lived in the Dominican Republic with him during COVID, but we decided that it was better for me to come back and live in the United States so that we could qualify for the visa. So in 2022, I moved back and we started applying for the visa in August. I was going back and forth doing long distance porque yo estaba agarrada de mi palo dominicano, mi amor, and no one can get me out of there. Fast forward to this year, in May we heard back and got our appointment for May 2024, and we did the whole thing. He got approved, and then he ended coming back with me in June to the United States. So since the beginning of the relationship, he had always struggled with holding down a job and being financially responsible. And so I took it upon myself to teach him the things that I know so that he could get better, so that when he came to the States, he would just be able to manage his money mejor. So over the past year, he was able to secure a really good job, and now he's balling and has all this money, and he's just like, I don't know what to do with it. Me being the person that I am, I'm like, ponte a ahorrar, like go to classes for English so that when you come to the United States, like you know the visa is coming through soon, you're prepared and ready to go. But of course, now he has in his mind that he wants to do something else with his money y que él va a comenzar a construir su casa. So that's what he's gonna do. Dominican Republic, when you lay the roof of your house, usually your family members move on top of it. So that's what she did. She gave him a piece of her property so that he can start constructing there. But there was no need for him to start doing that just yet. So el hombre se puso a construir, which is great because now you have a place of your own. But now money is tight and you're asked out, and somehow, some way, now I'm the bad guy because I don't want to offer up my funds to help you do something that I told you that it wasn't the time for you to do. Of course, I feel guilty and I deposit him money to finish building the house. So I fly back to the yard to be with him and prepare for the visa interview. So before the visa interview, everything's going really well. After the visa interview is when shit starts going to hell. And it wasn't just the fact that I was realizing that I was going to be the sole provider, because I was ready to do that. We had already discussed it. But it was me realizing that you literally had done absolutely nothing to prepare yourself to move to the United States, even though we've been in this process over the last almost 2 years. It was his baby mamas texting him, asking him, oh my God, I can't believe you're leaving. So where does this leave us? What are we? What do you feel for me? Excuse me? It was the finding him trying to initiate conversation of his ex of almost 6 years. Why are you reaching out to her? It was simply the lack of consideration and me realizing that you're actively trying to make me the villain in this story. So now we're beefing and I'm telling him, bro, like if you don't want to come to the United States right now, you don't have to. Let's work this stuff out and come in together in a healthier space. He refuses and he's like, we can push past this. Let's just go and live the life that we've always wanted to together. So we come to the States, and when I tell you things were rocky from the jump, tíreme de un barranco. And of course, we were going to have the basic relationship fights, like put the toilet seat down, pick up after this, because now we're living with each other 24/7. Pero lo que no se justifica is, why is la sierva texting you at 6 in the morning telling you about her personal problem? Why are you asking fulana de tal if she's eaten and recommending her to rent out the house? What house? And yes, moving to a whole different country is so hard, but I'm bending over backwards to make sure that you're having a good time. We're trying to help you acclimate in the best that I possibly can. From the moment that he set foot in the States, we tried really hard to help him find a job. But because the Social Security hadn't come in yet, he obviously couldn't start working, and we didn't want him to start working illegally just in case that brought any sort of problems. I will say though, one of the reasons why I fell in love with this man is because he knows how to work. He was never the one to be lounging around. He always was trying to hustle, work, provide for both of us when I was living there and I didn't have a job. And even after both of us were settled in, like he was always really good and never asking me for anything, even though I would be the one to offer. Which is why I was so understanding when I could see that he was restless being here and not having anything to do. Lo que yo no entiendo, however, is that your restlessness is coming because you know you have bills to pay in the Dominican Republic and kids to maintain, but you did absolutely nothing para ahorrar tu dinero cuando tú podías. So unfortunately, the bickering and fighting continued, and one of the first things that he said in our real fight was, "Is this why you brought me here? Like, get me my flight so I can go back." To which I responded, "What you're not going to do is sit here and try to make this like I was the one who brought you here when this was actively your decision. Because what you're not trying to do is make this a me problem cuando tú era the one who needed to save his money." But anyways, para cortarle story time, by the second week, he was already telling me that he was ready to go home. And I begged, y yo le lloré, y le pedí to please stay, let's work this out. Wait, the papers are going to come, you're going to be able to start working. It doesn't make sense for you to go back and start working there when the money that you could be earning there, you can earn it here in your first check. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough, and he just made his decision that he was going to leave, and he did. I had told him that if he decided to leave, that our relationship was done, because I was not going to be with someone who's going to come and only be here for 2 weeks and decide that they can't handle the pressure and just bounce. When I moved to the Dominican Republic and I lived there for 10 months looking for a job without finding one, just struggling just because I wanted to be with this man, because I wanted to give our relationship a shot. So you're gonna tell me that I can go ahead and do that and I can fly back and forth for 4 years, spending my money, my time, and my resources, and you can't come here and sit there with me and struggle past 2 weeks? No. So ultimately we were going back and forth, but essentially I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And when he saw that I was really serious this time about ending the relationship for the first time, and I don't know how many times I broke up with him, he started feeling the heat. And so one Sunday night, he surprised me by flying back to the States, unbeknownst to me, knocking on my door without knowing my address. "How did you get here, sir?" And asking me to give him another shot. But by then it was too late. I did not recognize him. I looked at him and I didn't feel anything for him anymore, which it's hard to say, but just like the love wasn't there the way that it was before. So the next day I just told him he had to pick up his crap and go, because I just couldn't do this anymore. And that's what he did. The first thing that he packed was his visa, and he left to St. Croix to work. And then a week later, he went back to the Dominican Republic. So I filed for divorce about 2.5 weeks later, and last Friday he signed the divorce papers. So this is all actively still happening, and it's still very fresh. And I know there are a lot of people on here who say, "Oh my God, girl, like nunca, I would never." But you don't really know what you're gonna do in a situation unless you're in it. And honestly, I love this man with my whole heart for 4 years, and I still do, because eso no se apaga de un día para otro. But I just came to the realization that this just was not serving me, and that it wasn't what I needed for me in my life. And I think that's okay.